Welcome to Introduction to Maya series. I am your instructor Rohan Page. In this video, we will see the basic workflow of animation. What will be our workflow? First of all, we will see what is keyframe animation. Then we will see the basic animation workflow, how we can set the key, how we can copy, paste, cut and delete the keys, what are the playback controllers in Maya. Let's start with the session. So let us see the workflow of animation in Maya, what are the basics of animation, how we can set a keyframe, how we can copy, paste or cut paste the keyframe. And also we will see the playback controls which are available in Maya and the recommended settings for the animation. So before starting with the animation, you must make sure that you are using animation rollout so that you will get the animation options over here. Now for animation, we will take a basic sphere over here, so it will work as our object. So the first thing we need to understand is what is keyframe. So what is keyframe? If I'll place my surface over here, as you know that if I'm moving any object in a 3D space, the attributes are getting changed, the channel attributes over here, those are representing the overall position of my surface in 3D space. To start with the keyframe animation, you can see that there is a timeline over here at the bottom of my interface. So this timeline has some kind of numbers and these numbers are called as frames. Frames are used for animation which depicts the time. So we are going to use this timeline to increase or decrease the overall amount of time frames you require according to your scene. We have over here few blocks below the timeline. So basically this represents the start frame of your animation scene. This represents the start frame of your timeline. This represents the end frame of your timeline, whereas the last block represents the last frame of your animation scene. So with the help of these four blocks, you can scale the timeline. Basically, over here at the middle of these four blocks, we have one slider called as time slider. With the help of it, you can slide between the frames throughout the overall frames. So basically, if you'll click at the start of this time slider, it is going to scale your timeline to a complete time frame you are using. I am right now using first frame to 200 frames. That is my timeline. So if you want to make an animation of only 25 frames, so you will have to mention first frame at the start and at the last block you will have to mention 25. So you are now working with 25 frames. In that 25 frames, if you want to focus on only frame number 5th to frame number 10th or frame number 5th to frame number 20. So in this whole timeline, if you want to focus on the specific frame, then you can work with this block. Second block, I'll mention over here 5th number so that you can see though my animation is starting from the first frame, right now I would like to see it from the 5th. And then I am mentioning a value over here for the end frame of the timeline 20. That means the whole timeline is of a 25 frame, whereas I am focusing on the frames from 5th to 20. In this way you can definitely scale with the overall timeline. And if you don't want to scale, you can go back to your complete time frame. At the right side of the interface we have playback options and we will see them one by one. So the first thing is, if you are not keyframing it, it is not going to get animated. So now I want to animate. So how to animate? First of all, to set a key, you need to go to animate, set key. There is a shortcut mentioned over here, that is S. So press S on your keyboard and you will get a one red color line on the frame where you are situated on the timeline. So right now my current frame is on 1, and that's why the set key, the keyframe has got set on the first frame. All the attributes, keyable attributes, will get a key. So whether you are animating it or not, if you press set key, then it is going to set a key for all the keyable attributes of selected object. If I'll go to 25th frame now, I'm moving this sphere at this area and press S again. If you'll not press S, if you'll not set a key, it is going to take back that sphere to this the position where it came from. Set a key, and now you know that on 25th my sphere is at this place, whereas on first it is at this area. So now what is keyframe? Keyframe is nothing but it is saving all the manipulation values of the attributes of selected object over a frame. So computer will save all these changes in the manipulation, and if you are using it using two keys, then it is going to create in-betweens by default. So you can see my sphere is now moving from one place to other place. If you want to play the animation, then you will have to first of all go to preference window. In preference window, it is recommended the animation setting has to be playback speed has to be play real time 24 frame fps, because if you are working on PAL format, that is phase alternative line, then you can keep the playback speed to 24 or 25 frames per second, whereas if you are working with the NTSC format, that is National Television Standard Committee, then we can use 30 frames per second. Now I have changed the playback speed and save it, and now play. To play, you can use this playback controllers. It is say play forward, and it is moving like this. It's looping around, like going to the last frame again, snapping to the first and playing it continuously. To stop, you need to click over here. If you want to, now the current frame is 4, I want to go back to my first frame, then in playback option we have option over we have one controller over here which says go to start of playback range. So click on this option and it will take you to the first frame. If you want to snap to the last frame, then you can use this option at the end. This is the controller which says go to the end of playback range. I'll go back to first. Now if you want to add more keyframe in between, I'll go to the 12th frame or 30th frame. I'll move it in y-axis and press S on your keyboard to set a key. Now we have 3 keys over here. So if you'll play the animation, it will move like this. Go back to first frame. Now if you want to snap to key by key, you just need to snap to key by key. Then there are controllers over here in playback. This controller over here in front of the play forward, we have this option called as step forward one key. It will snap to the next key. The next key is on 13th frame and it will snap to that 13th frame. If I'll again snap, then it will snap to 25th. If you want to snap to the previous key, then you can use this option which will help you to snap to previous key. If you want to play frame by frame, then you can use play forward one frame or step forward one frame. So it will step one frame next to, or you can say forward to one frame next to the current frame. You can click on it and it is going to go step by step with the frames. This respective option is used for go previously with frame by frame, right? So there are some shortcuts over here to handle or to work with this playback control. If you want to play the animation, use Alt and V on your keyboard. It is going to play the animation. If you want to stop the animation, you can press Escape. Go to the first frame. Now if you want to snap to the next frame, next keyframe, then use greater than option on your keyboard. If you want to move to previous key, then you can use less than button on your keyboard. If you want to move frame by frame in forward direction, then hold Alt on your keyboard and greater than option on your keyboard. So it will move frame by frame. If you want to go previously, Alt less than is the hotkey. So these are the shortcuts for playback controls. The next thing which we will have to see is how we can change the spacing between these two keyframes or these frames. Changing the spacing between keyframes is going to affect the speed, or you can say timing of the animation. So suppose I want to move this 13th number frame near to the 6th frame. So if you want to move a single keyframe, then you need to first of all go to that keyframe, hold shift on your keyboard and left click. You can see it is highlighted with red color. Now move that particular keyframe. You can see, you just click on the timeline and you can see the keyframe on 13th number got replaced or got placed on 6th one. If you want to shift 25th on 12th, then go to that frame, hold shift and left mouse click, then move it and place it on 12th number frame. Now if you'll play the animation, you can see it is moving fast. You can also scale the time, all the keyframes. To scale the keyframes at the same time or to select multiple keyframes, you will have to hold shift on your keyboard, press left mouse button, hold the shift, middle mouse drag, and it is selecting the range according to your requirement. Now just click on this outer arrow over here and just move it. You can see that my keyframes are getting scaled over the timeline. As soon as you are done with the scale, just right click on timeline and say snap. If you will not snap it, it will not go to the integer value, it will snap to the point value. Now you can see I have increased or changed all the keyframes with the same distance. If you don't want any key, if you want to delete a key, you can just go to that respective keyframe which you want to delete. Right click and you will get the option of delete. So it is going to delete all the keys for the attributes which are set on that respective frame. Now you can see that frame has gone and now my animation is changed. So I'll just move it to 6. I'll again move this 20 on 12. If you want to copy paste a frame, then you can simply go to that respective frame which you want to copy, right click over there and just copy it, and then go to the frame where you want to paste it. So I want to paste it on 18th number frame, right click, there you will get the option of paste. I want to paste all attributes of that respective object, and you can see the position which I have copied is now pasted on the 18th. You can go back to one copy. I can paste it on 24th. I'm using 24 frames right now, and you can see it is moving like that. So this is how you can copy and paste the keys with the help of keyframes and time slider. If you want to delete all the keyframes at the time, then double click on the timeline. It will select all the keyframes available within that time range, and you can right click and delete it. So now there are no keys and there is no animation. There is other option available for setting a key. There is an option over here near preference window called as auto keyframe. Over here in preference window we have this auto keyframe. You need to turn it on. So how it works? Let us see. First of all, you need to select the object which you are going to animate. Firstly, you will have to set the key manually. So press S on your keyboard and set key for all the keyable attributes. After setting a keyframe manually, then the auto key starts working. So for example, if I'll move on 24th frame and move this particular sphere in x-axis, you can observe over here on timeline the set key has been done manually. But there is a difference between set key and auto key. As you know that I have moved this particular sphere in only x-axis. Now if I'll go to 13th number frame and move it in y-axis, you can see that the keyframe has been created on 13th number. And now play the animation and you will see that on 30th frame, on 24th frame, the sphere is not coming down from y-axis, which means set key sets the value or sets the key for all the keyable attributes, whereas auto key is going to set the key only for the attributes which has got change or which has been changed with the value. So now what you can do to bring back this pair on the same floor, so you can go to first frame, you can just copy that value of y, go back to 24th and you can paste it. And you can see now there is a proper animation. Now this is one way of copying the keyframe. Now let us see the other way to copy any respective attribute. Now suppose I'll use the auto key. I went to the 24th frame and I'll just move this sphere in x-axis. It is going to set the key for only x-axis, as we haven't worked with any y or any other axis. So go back to 12th number frame and move it in y-axis. It has set a key for only y in the 12th frame. Now if you'll play, you are getting the same result. Now what we can do with the y-axis, as in the first thing we had copied the value and pasted it manually. So basically when you select the object, timeline is going to display the keyframe for all the attributes which have the key on the respective timeline. So go to preference window over here. In the preference window we have an option over here which you can see, key ticks. Now key ticks by default is selected by active, which means that whatever if you'll just select the animated object, it is going to display the keyframes for the selected object. Now if you'll select key ticks none, it is not going to show any kind of keyframes on your time slider. Now there is another option called a channel box. So we need to select this option now and save. Though you will select the object, it is not going to show you any kind of keyframes. So now in channel box, if you will select translate X, it will display you the keyframes which have been set on the timeline. So you can see that the translate X have the key on first frame and 24th frame. If I'll go to translate Y, it will display you the keyframes which it has, like it have the keyframe on first and 12th number keyframe. So there is no keyframe on 24th, that's why it is not coming down on the 24th frame. Now go back to first frame. Rather than copying value, you can simply select the translate Y attribute in channel box, right click, copy it and paste it on 24th. So this is another way, and now you can play the animation and you will get the smooth one. As soon as you are done with this kind of setup, you can go back to preference window and you can use key ticks to default active mode. There are few more attributes which you can work with in the preference window, that is height. 1x, 2x, 4x are the settings which we have this in category. This is nothing but the height of the timeline. So if you'll click on the 2x, the height is getting increased. If you'll use 4x, the more height of the timeline will be added. So this can be used at the time of dialog animation. So I will take it back to 1x height. You can increase the key tick size also. You can see it is getting wider over here. So by default it is 1. There is an option of snapping option and timecode option over here. So if I'll turn on the timecode option also, you can see on the frame I am getting the time code of hour, minutes, seconds and frames. So this is how it works with the timing also. So you can turn it off if you don't want to see the time code over there. So just save the setting and you can play the animation. So this is how we can do a keyframe animation. These are the basics of keyframe animation. Let us see what we have seen in this lecture. What we learned in this video. We have seen that in keyframe animation, key saves the manipulation values of keyable attributes for selected object over a frame. To set the key, S is the hotkey, whereas Autokey sets the keyframes for manipulated attributes only, and setKey sets the attribute for all the keyable attributes of the selected object. For any query, you can follow me on Facebook. You can write me an email on rohan.pageanimator@gmail.com. Else you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, that is Rohan Page, or else you can join my classroom with the following code. Thank you.